Wherever you are and whatever time it is, I'd like to welcome you to join us for a runoff debate for the APFA's Office of National Secretary. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us wherever you are viewing this. We have a wonderful debate set up. My name is Brian Leanne. I am the Director of Debate and a distinguished professor at the University of North Texas. It is my pleasure to be welcoming here, and on behalf of the APFA and the National Ballot Committee, I'd like to welcome our candidates and all of our viewers for watching this debate itself. Let me explain some of the ground rules and then go over the format, and then I'll introduce the candidates to you. We have a setup for a format here that includes an opportunity for opening comments from each candidate and an opportunity to answer a series of questions. The questions were submitted by the candidates' campaigns to me. They submitted 6 questions. I chose 3 from each side and then have randomized it. For every single question that we have, each candidate gets an opportunity to answer it, and each candidate gets an opportunity to refute the answer provided by the other. We'll use a total of 6 questions proceeding through them, and we'll flip-flop our order back and forth. After that, we have an opportunity for closing remarks from our candidate. I want to remind everyone that there's no recording of this debate that is permitted. Anybody recording is going to be asked to leave. Make sure all of your devices are turned off. Also, members of the audience maintain a professional decorum, no heckling, no disturbance, or anything like that. Ladies and gentlemen, our candidates for the National Secretary are Josh Black and Leanne Pruett. Before with this debate, we produced a coin toss that told us what order we would have our speakers in. The winner of the coin toss was Mr. Black, who opted to speak first. Mr. Black, your opening remarks.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you to the NBC and you, the members. Our union is at a critical point. We are at war with American Airlines management, and we are fighting for an industry-leading contract today. I led the organizing for the historic strike authorization vote that resulted in a 99.47% authorization to strike. With those proven skills, I'm leading the organizing for our strike against American Airlines. Before taking office, our union was shrouded in secrecy and corruption. Our administration has focused on bringing transparency to our membership. Through the APFA website redesign project I led, we brought full transparency into negotiations to put knowledge in your hands and put pressure on management. Due to COVID, I implemented virtual town halls to keep our members informed and connected with the workings of our union, and we've had over 50 town halls to date. Transparency didn't stop there. We opened the books and allowed our members access to review the financials of APFA. My opponent aligns herself with individuals who would prefer go backwards and reverse the transparency our members have access to. Members have a right to know how our dues dollars are spent. Our union is governed by a constitution and policy manual that details how our union operates, which the National Secretary has a key role in administering. I have 4 years of experience writing new policies to usher forward and bring more transparency to our members. One of these policy improvements I introduced is this very debate, where previously only the national president candidates would debate. My opponent, however, is part of a small group who wants to turn the clock backwards. We must uphold our Constitution and policies, otherwise corruption will flourish. We're at a crucial point in our union's history. You have a choice to make, to continue moving forward or go backwards. Over the past 4 years, our administration has focused on strengthening our union in order to battle American Airlines management. Our opponents have spent their time dividing our union, playing into management's hands. I'm requesting for your vote for National Secretary to continue the project of reforming this union into a fighting union capable of taking on the ruthless American Airlines management. To learn more about our administration, visit our campaign website, yourunion2024.org. Let's keep moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Ms. Pruett, your opening comments, please.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank our moderator, Mr. Leanne, our board of directors, and my fellow APFA brothers and sisters for allowing me to be here today. There are many things in life that I have never done before. Today, I stand before you doing a few of those things. I have never been in a formal debate before, let alone have it be recorded. I have never run for office before. Most importantly, I have never felt the fear that I feel today. I'm up here shaking, not only because I'm nervous, I'm up here shaking because I'm angry. Angry because my union has failed me. angry because they have failed to protect the very thing we hired them to do, to protect us. I look at you today, my fellow brothers and sisters. I look to ask you to do the right thing. I'm asking you to join me in fighting back. I'm not just asking you, I'm pleading. We need to vote Josh Black and the entire Hedrick administration out and bring in fresh blood. Bring in people that will make a difference in our lives. As you already know, I am running for national secretary. Why, you ask? Because I love my job. But more importantly, I love my union. Yes, I love my union. My love affair started back in 1993, right after the strike. I was 23 years old and had no idea the impact the strike would have on me. 21,000 flight attendants came together to fight the fight of our lives. This opened my eyes to the magnitude of what an impact I had, what an impact my union had. Together, we bonded as family, and together, we defended our careers. Together, we made history. Fast forward to 2024. I have been an active flight attendant for 32 years. I have been around many administrations, and trust me, I have seen it all. These last 4 years have been some of the most difficult years for us. We have had to deal with many challenges in our career. I'm sad to say that my once great union seems to be losing its identity and its purpose. I am running for secretary to make a difference for our members, and most importantly, I am running to hold people accountable. I am running because I am passionate about maintaining the independent identity, to be the industry-leading union we once were. I asked myself whether life was better or worse since April 2020. The honest answer is no. It's not better, it's worse. If I want it better, I have to make a change. I have to be the change. Allow me to be that change. Allow me to be your voice. I will stand up for the members, and I will stand for you.
Thank you, Ms. Pruett. Candidates, great opening statements. We're going to proceed to the question portion of our program. I'll ask the question, and remember, each candidate gets an opportunity to answer. We're starting with you, Mr. Black, this time. I'll say the question. Here it is. What are the greatest concerns facing flight attendants today? Again, I'll repeat. What are the greatest concerns facing flight attendants today?
Thank you for the question. And it's an important one because our flight attendants are facing a lot of things. Most notably is the assaults on our flight attendants. That is one of the biggest things that our administration has focused on. We've been working with the safety department to initiate an electronic notification system so our union stays informed when things are going out on the line that our management has refused to tell us about. Some of the other things that is facing our membership is negotiations is the biggest. We need a contract now, and we need a contract today. And our administration has been working diligently the past 2 years to get this contract in our hands of our flight attendants so we can vote for it. We have not had a raise in 5 years. We have flight attendants that are sleeping in their cars. We have flight attendants that are having trouble making ends meet, and we need a contract now. And our administration is doing everything we can to make that happen. Management is stonewalling our efforts, and we need to stand up for what is right to make sure we get this contract finished. My opponent expressed anger towards the union. We need to refocus that anger towards the company. They are the ones to blame for right now, and we need to make sure that we hold them accountable. Our administration has been holding them accountable every step of the way. We show up. We show up. We show up to our pickets. We show up to the state of the airlines. And we need everyone to show up for these things, not just the people in this administration right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Apologies for any error in the teleprompter. Ms. Pruett, the same question. What are the greatest concerns facing flight attendants today?
Well, our greatest concerns that we faced, trust me, there are a lot of them. Flight attendants can gripe about a lot of things. But the two most concerns that we face today are flexibility and pay. Let's talk about flexibility. We already know straight reserve provides no flexibility. But what about the hard 40? Your membership has asked you over and over again to get rid of this, but it has fallen on deaf ears. I ask you why. Why haven't you fought harder for us? Why haven't you been fighting to get rid of the hard 40? Let's talk about pay. We haven't had a pay raise in 5 years. We haven't even had a cost of living adjustment during record inflation. Why? Why aren't you using your position to fight for us, to be our voice? Your members need you. I'll tell you why. While we were in the trenches working long hours with no food or breaks, you were enjoying 105 plus hours of premium pay every month at top scale, even though you only have 8.5 years. We have flight attendants living in their cars, that's right. Let's talk about the young gal you exploited at the State of the Union. Her story was touching. It was heart-wrenching. Your membership is sending her nonstop thanks in hopes that she can cash them in for gift cards. You stood there and watched her cry for help, and yet you've done nothing. In fact, she is one of the many flight attendants on reserve. What will happen to these poor flight attendants when you extend straight reserve? You will see more stories like hers. Reserve is one of the main reasons new hires are broke. One of the main reasons all of us on reserve are broke. We need you to help us, and we need your help now.
Thank you, Ms. Pruett. An opportunity to rebut. Mr. Black.
Thank you. I seem to think that my opponent doesn't realize she's at the national secretary debate and not the national president debate. The president oversees negotiations. However, I have had an active role in making sure that we've been putting significant pressure on our management. I oversaw the strike authorization vote to make sure that everyone voted and made their voice heard. We need to go on strike to make this management fold and actually get this contract finished. I'm proud of my members, of our members who speak up. I'm proud of the people who tell their stories and share their truth and share the part of them that tells management and tells the world why we are doing what we're doing. And I stood with her. I stood with her at the state of the airline. Where were you?
Thank you, Mr. Black. Ms. Pruett, an opportunity to rebut.
Don't let him fool you that it has nothing to do with what's going on behind the scenes. He is part of the negotiations and otherwise. He has his hands in everything. He is part of APFA. Flight attendants are crying for our leaders to help them make a decent wage. We need that industry contract that you all brag about. We need you to fight for retro pay. We need you to match per diem to our pilots. Sandwiches at the airport don't discriminate with pilots and flight attendants. We all pay the same price. Why have you decided that we deserve less? Get rid of the hard 40. Give us our flexibility back. Listen to your members. Listen to us when we tell you that we are tired, we're broke, and we're done with the ineptitudes of this administration.
Thank you, Ms. Pruett. Thanks, candidates. That was our first question. We're moving on to our second question. This time we'll be starting with Ms. Pruett. I'll state the question and repeat. Here we go. Membership education falls under the National Secretary. What skills do you possess to continue improving the website and develop other tools to further educate the membership? I'll repeat again. Membership education falls under the National Secretary. What skills do you possess to continue improving the website and develop other tools to further educate the membership? Ms. Pruett.
That's a great question. Improving the website, I'm sure that I will be able to learn just like Josh did. And as far as getting information out to our membership, that is very important to me. But let's talk about that website that he's improved. So I find it very hard to navigate. Getting on the website, the basics are there, but when you really want to get deep into it, you have to really struggle to find the information. So I would like to get on the website, and I would like to make it more accessible for our members. An example would be how a new hire would want to become a union participant, to work here at the office. I would like to make a way for them to find the answers so that they don't have to ask other flight attendants that don't know. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Pruett. Mr. Black, the same question. We're talking about the website and other tools to educate the membership, because membership education falls under the Secretary.
Sure. Membership education and our representatives' education is really important here for us at APFA, and it does fall under the National Secretary's jurisdiction. I led the redesign of the APFA website to bring resources to our members that the company refused to provide us. We had to do that because they refused to. My team accomplished this by working with all APFA departments, my fellow officers, and the base presidents to find a course forward for that. We needed a resource for our members to get information about negotiations and increase transparency. So that's where we started. And now today we have a very extensive and robust website with hundreds of new pages for our members to get information on the job. Next, we'll be working on an app for you to use to make it easier to communicate with your reps and get important information in your hands. You need certain skill sets to see projects like these through. Skills that I possess, like project management, organizing, website development, understanding of our union, departments, and our contract. Additionally, I'll expand training to be offered to our members. I'll leverage the technology that we use to host our virtual town halls to offer contract classes to our members, no matter where they are. And we'll also continue leveraging training at APFA headquarters in this very space that we're in right now, instead of using off-site meeting spaces like has been done in the past. My opponent, as she said, has none of these skills. Willing to learn, I think that's great, but this isn't a position for learning. This is a position for doing. I look forward to continue to improve the education provided to our representatives and members.
Thank you. Ms. Pruett, an opportunity for rebuttal. 1 minute.
Who more to represent you than someone who is out on the line working with you? He talks about being a lead strike organizer. When is the strike booklet he refers to, and the phone bank? Back in my day, we had a phone tree, and we also took care of informing each other. We had strike captains. Where's the information we need in case we go on strike? That's all missing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pruett. Rebuttal, 1 minute. Mr. Black.
Sure. I appreciate the feedback that you gave on the website. We're constantly looking at improving it, and it's through membership feedback like yours that allows us to do that. I am happy to say that our website is very easy to navigate. There's a menu right at the top that you can use, and there's also a robust search feature that we recently implemented last year. You can find anything that you need on that website by using that search feature. Talking about new members, we speak with our new members every week when they come here. Over 100 new members come every week to this APFA headquarters, and we educate them on what it means to be a union member, what it means to be part of a labor organization, and how they can show up to support these negotiations and get ourselves an industry-leading contract. We talk with our new members and we tell them how they can get involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Black. All right, we'll move on to our third question. This time we're starting with you, Mr. Black. Here's the question. It's very specific. What is your opinion on the COVID-19 initiatives taken since January of 2020? I'll repeat. What is your opinion on the COVID-19 initiatives taken since January of 2020? Your answer.
I'm not sure what exactly this question is related to with the COVID-19 initiatives. And further, that wouldn't even fall under the National Secretary's jurisdiction. If it relates to the Vice President's department, the Vice President would be responsible for grievances. The President's department is responsible for our government affairs activities, and to which we were very involved during that whole time frame on the COVID, everything that was going on. Our safety of our flight attendants was number one, and at that time, our administration was focused on getting legislation passed to keep our flight attendants connected to pay through the payroll support program. We championed that with other unions, TWU 556, AFA. We were able to keep our flight attendants connected to their pay and benefits during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Black. Ms. Pruett, the same question. What's
Thank
your
you.
opinion of the COVID-19 initiatives taken since January of 2020?
My opinion is that you and the entire Hedrick administration didn't do enough for our frontline workers. You took office in April 2020 during the most crucial time of our careers. The country was fighting a world crisis, a pandemic that we had never experienced before. We flight attendants were on the front lines. We showed up to work and we were surrounded by the pandemic, while you got to work from the comfort of your home. Not only did we fear for our own health, we had to fear for our safety because passengers were irate and they were abusive. That's it. You were one of the lucky ones that didn't get furloughed. Your classmates were furloughed. Working for our union saved your job. Your fellow classmates didn't have that option. Your fellow classmates, they were all furloughed. This should have made you work harder for us. Where were you and the other officers? We had flight attendants take leave of absences. Your membership sacrificed for their fellow brothers and sisters. What did you sacrifice? Did you cut back on your hours like the rest of us did, or were you still getting paid 105 hours? Where were you when we had to deal with irate passengers that challenged us wearing masks? We were abused mentally and abused physically. On top of the passenger abuse, we had to deal with the supply shortages. And then on top of that, American cuts our staffing. That's right, our staffing. It's been 4 years now, and we still don't have our full staffing back. This arbitration is one of the most important of our careers, and you and the administration are not adequately prepared. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pruett. Mr. Black, an opportunity to respond. 1 minute.
Sure. Next time, I would encourage you to run for national president. Again, this is the national secretary debate. We're here to talk about items concerning the national secretary. I will talk about a couple of these points, though. Our national president did a lot during COVID-19 to ensure that our flight attendants were taken care of. There were letters, a series of letters of agreements to keep our flight attendants connected to their jobs and to their pay. There were early outs that were negotiated to ensure that our flight attendants that were ready to go could leave. And my hours, although I was working at this union, we were working day and night. We were on board calls with our presidents every day to make sure that our flight attendants were taken care of. We had cruise ships that we had flight attendants on that we had to have taken off of those. We had so much going on in that time, and it was because of collaboration that we were able to get through that together.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Ms. Pruett, a rebuttal to that. 1 minute.
As National Secretary, your job is more than just administrative. You literally have your hands in everything. Constitution and policy requires a series of checks and balances in almost everything officers do, most of which require second officers' signatures and approvals. Even though the things are done quietly and behind the scenes, you have your hands on everything. You and the entire administration failed us. You didn't even fight for your frontline workers to get priority to vaccinations. My husband's law firm and their office staff got priority before flight attendants did. What about the flight attendants that didn't want vaccinations? What did you do for them? Did you fight for them? I lost my dad December 30th, 2020 to COVID-related symptoms, all while I was home sick with COVID myself. No union member reached out to me. What about the flight attendants and fellow co-workers that lost their lives to COVID? Where is their story? Where is their memorial? We had flight attendants come back to work with 14-hour Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Pruett. Sorry, the time had elapsed there, ladies and gentlemen. Candidates, congratulations. We've made it halfway through the debate. We just have 3 more questions to go. This time we're going to start with you, Ms. Pruett. Let me ask the question. It is that the National Secretary is responsible for understanding the APFA Constitution and Policy Manual. Here's the question. What experience do you have with the APFA policies, and what changes would you make going forward with the Constitution or the Policy Manual? I'll repeat, it's a long question. The National Secretary is responsible for understanding the APFA Constitution and the Policy Manual. What experiences do you have with these policies, and what changes would you make going forward to the Constitution or the Policy Manual? Ms. Pruett.
I'm not sure that I can answer that question without more information, but here's what I do know. Constitution and policy requires a series of checks and balances in almost everything that officers do. You have a voice. It's been 4 years. Why haven't you advocated for us? Where have you been, and where have all of you been? You sat quietly by and implemented policy after policy that was meant to benefit you and the officers. You didn't actually write new policies. The policies were already there. All you did was make some minor adjustments, adjustments that benefited you. He brags about upgrading the building in which he works. While we're all scrounging for pennies, he's sitting pretty in the new offices. He's Marie Antoinette waving the peasants away, saying, "Let them eat cake." Let's talk about his responsibilities of overseeing the National Balloting Committee. What a cluster this election was. From see-through envelopes, ballots never arriving, envelopes with no ballots, our complaints go on and on. No wonder the membership is angry. Your oversight in the election was an abomination, not to mention the message sent to the company. How do we even know that 26,300 ballots were sent out when less than 29% were returned? What message does that send to American? He should have made sure to allow for ample time for everything, for everyone to vote and return their ballots. This was a cost to our membership. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pruett. Mr. Black, the same question. What changes would you make to the Constitution or the policy manual?
So my opponent seems to think that the policies that we've put forward are just kind of recircling and regurgitating what's already in the policy manual, which isn't true. The past 4 years, I've been responsible for drafting the policy changes that our administration has put forward. First is the financial reform initiatives, which were a series of 8 resolutions that updated financial policies to prohibit financial malfeasance. Next, we implemented an in-house legal department, something that's never been here at APFA before, which reduced our spending on outside legal costs while ensuring we have a dedicated team to handle the legal matters at APFA. We passed election improvements, one of them being the implementation of this debate to bring transparency into our elections. We made candidate booklets electronic, which saves over $60,000 per election in mailing costs. That's money that we can use elsewhere in representation. I have proven skills in drafting policies that improves how our union operates and prohibits malfeasance. By understanding our policies, I help our leaders navigate problems that face our union, including legal challenges, election contests, and many other issues that we deal with on a daily basis. And you can't do any of this alone. You have to work with others, which is key to making policy change. You can't just say, this will be the policy, and that's it. The base presidents are the ones that pass policy. You have to be able to work with others to get policy passed. You have to collaborate with one another. I have clear experience with our policies. I've worked with the other officers and base presidents to determine a course forward for a constitutional referendum for our members to vote on after we achieve our contract. I have the experience necessary to continue forward in this position.
Thank you. It's time for rebuttal on this question of the Constitution or policy manual changes. Ms. Pruett, 1 minute.
Again, I remind everyone that he has his hands in everything. He works at APFA. He has more responsibilities than just administrative. This administration has given us no help. Josh has sat by, implemented policy after policy for this administration that has undercut our rights again and again. And we've suffered as our circumstances have gone from bad to worse. Our families have paid the price. We've risked our lives during a global pandemic for our country. Meanwhile, Josh and the entire administration sat at home binge-watching TV. Again, he brags about upgrades to the buildings he works in. Upgrades to the building when we don't even have a balanced budget. I'm here now. I'm really not impressed. And what about his dog? He gets to bring his dog to office. Don't get me wrong, I love dogs. Dogs are my family, they're my children. But bring them to work? This is a business, not a doggy daycare. My God, be a professional. There is a sense of entitlement with these officers. Be angry.
Thank you, Ms. Pruett. Mr. Black, 1 minute to respond to that.
Sure. I first want to acknowledge the loss of your father during COVID-19. I'm very sorry that that happened. And as far as my dog is concerned, he died 2 years ago. So I don't know what information you're going off of, but it still hurts. We do have checks and balances at this union. And those are described in our Constitution. I've been fighting for our members by creating new policies here at APFA. The upgrade of this building, this space that we're in right now, has saved us $30,000 a year. $30,000 that we can use on representation for you and improving everything that we provide for our members. The NBC, I have the utmost confidence in their ability to see through these elections and make sure that they're done fairly and equitably. And they work closely with our legal department to make sure that that's done. We have a balanced budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Candidates, we're going to move on to our fifth question. We'll be starting with Mr. Black for this one. Here's the question. What would you say is the overall morale of flight attendants, and what will you do to improve it? I will repeat. What would you say is the overall morale of flight attendants, and what will you do to improve it? Mr. Black.
Our flight attendants are fed up. They're fed up with how management treats them. And they're fed up of the division that the people who are running against us are causing out on the line. Achieving an industry-leading contract is the top priority for administration. We have to get that done. That is the top priority, and our team is the one that does it. Leanne brought up the strike booklet earlier. I'm so glad you brought that up because we're in the middle of making that as we speak. We're preparing for a strike. It includes a booklet that will go out to all members with more details on striking and what that means. We have a lot of new members that this is the first time they've been through something like this. It's going to take a lot of education and a lot of support to make sure they know what's going on. We're going to have a call center, just like we had for the strike vote, staffed with individuals who know what's going on so they can make sure that this happens without a hitch. And we'll have support at the base level to continue our strike activities. Our CAT team has been critical for the last 2 years to making sure that our flight attendants are aware of what's going on, that they're connected to the process. That is the key to this. An educated membership is the key to getting an industry-leading contract. Outside of these strike activities, I've led planning meetings with multiple parties, including our PR firm, negotiators, officers, to plan actions against this company, to help give our flight attendants an outlet to express the low morale that they have. This is the multiple pickets that we've had, the pickets that we held at AA headquarters, which have never been done like they've been done. There were helicopters out there. The holiday cards that provided our flight attendants an opportunity to tell their stories to management, and delivering the letter of no confidence to late Brady Burns. We will continue to do that for our members.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Ms. Pruett, the same question. What's the overall morale, and what would you do to change it?
First, I'd like to apologize about your dog. I lost my dog in October too, so I am sorry that I was out of line. Morale is the lowest I've seen since 9/11. Your members are tired. We are frustrated. We are beaten. We feel undervalued. We are fatigued and we are overworked. We have been threatened with base closures. We have displaced flight attendants that need our attention, that need your attention. We have flight attendants flying 150 plus hours just to make ends meet. Our career has been devalued. As a flight attendant, I have lived through our past 5 contracts, each one seemingly eating away at our benefits. Our integrity and self-worth as flight attendants are based on our contracts. Some of our value have slipped down the drain. We become more desperate for fair pay and fair treatment. This current administration has granted far too many concessions to the company, and we deserve better. How can we improve this? We can arm our membership with knowledge. Our membership does need more training, you're right. I'm not talking about just online training, I'm talking about hands-on training. We need to arm our members so that they know what to do when the company pushes them around. How about a quick reference on-duty guide? With that technology advances that you brag about and have spent money on, how about creating an app? An app that can help our members when they're in a situation where the company breaches our contract. To quote Sir Francis Bacon, knowledge in itself is power, and we want you to educate our members. I believe that we need to start by building back our confidence. Flight attendants are smart and they're creative. We are a strong force to be reckoned with when we want to be. It seems after COVID-19, our leaders gave up on us. We no longer are included in on your decisions. Straight reserve is a fine example of that, and so is boarding pay. We need you to fight for us.
Thank you, Ms. Pruett. Mr. Black, a rebuttal on this issue of morale.
Sure. Leanne, I just want to say, I recognize the anger and frustration that you have. It's the anger and frustration that so many of our flight attendants, most of our flight attendants have. And we are working to channel that towards management. I'd encourage you to channel that towards management and not at your union. On duty guide, we agree. That was something that we talked about way before we even took office, something that we needed for the JCBA. And we did that, but it's the website. It's not just a small portion like it was before, a small booklet like it was before. It's the entire website. We have pages for pay protections. We have pages for going legal, all sorts of resources that I want to encourage you to go on the website and look and familiarize yourself with it, because you never know when you're going to need it. Surveys. We have done surveys of our membership. And boarding pay is going to be in this contract. Our president will talk more about that in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Ms. Pruett, the last rebuttal on this question of morale.
Your improvements haven't given us immediate relief. How have they improved our quality of life? We're having to book our own hotels. Why aren't you fighting the company for this? Before the merger, we rarely had these issues. You and I both know that management has cut back in departments that immediately affect us. Why aren't you fighting for us? Maybe our morale would be better if we had someone advocating for us instead of themselves. To quote our APFA Code of Conduct, the APFA strive for a standard of conduct and behavior wherein all flight attendants are treated with respect and consideration. When will this administration respect our needs? When will this administration consider our needs? Let's start there, and maybe we can build back trust and build back morale.
Thank you very much. Candidates, with our last question for the debate. This is an important question that's about collaboration. I will read it and then give you the opportunity. This time we'll be starting with Ms. Pruett. Collaboration is key in this union. How do you plan to foster collaboration with the base presidents, officers, and department representatives at the union? I'll repeat one more time. Collaboration is key in this union. How do you plan to foster collaboration with the base presidents, officers, and department representatives at the union? Ms. Pruett, your answer.
I would treat them like my family, and I would make sure that they have all the input that I can give them. I would like to be a part of their decisions. I will use my voice to protect our members and participate as much as I can. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Pruett. Mr. Black, the same question. Collaboration is key. How would you foster collaboration between base presidents, officers, and department representatives?
Sure. We have done that over the past 4 years. We've fostered collaboration with our base presidents. It started with COVID with weekly meetings, or daily meetings, and now we meet weekly with the base presidents. Being able to work with other representatives at the union is critical, especially in this position. You even stated it yourself. In this position, you work with every representative in the union. I work with the base presidents to find solutions to complex problems. We have weekly board calls to solve problems as a team to determine a course forward. I work with the CAT team and other organizers to plan actions against management for our members to participate in. These actions ensure we achieve the contract that we deserve. I work with the APFA departments to ensure our website remains a valuable resource for our members. We also work together to develop training for our representatives and our members. So much of this position is about working with others. My opponent has shown she's not able to work with other people through the divisive rhetoric that she uses on social media. I will continue fostering this collaboration to improve services to our members and expand the education we offer our members.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Ms. Pruett, you have 1 minute for rebuttal here.
Let's talk about that rhetoric on social media. You yourself created the CAT team, Contract Action Team. In my day, we called them info reps. If you've been on social media, you'll see that the CAT members are very divisive. They're constantly defending our current administration. Why? Why does our current administration need defending? Your actions should prove enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pruett. Mr. Black, your last rebuttal.
Sure. The CAT team was a product of us going to labor notes where unions across the country go to build power. We did that as a team. It wasn't just me. Let's talk about division, Leanne. Let's talk about the accusations that you made towards our lead negotiating attorney, that he wasn't even an attorney. You are not a stranger to lying and slander. You contacted the Bar Association and even tried to file ethics charges to undermine our negotiations. You are undermining our negotiations. And what's worse, you support previous officers who owe money to this union through arbitration decisions against them. Do you want to see those arbitration decisions reversed, Leanne?
Ladies and gentlemen, each candidate has an opportunity for closing remarks. We start with Ms. Pruett.
In closing today, I want to remind you that I am running for National Secretary because I want to be the voice for all flight attendants. Like I said earlier, I'm here on the front lines with you. I am still on reserve after 32 years. When is the last time our opponent served a full month of reserve? Our current administration is completely out of touch with its members and what they go through on a day-to-day basis. I want to remind you that I am in the trenches with you. I know what you're going through. Just last week, my duty day was 20 hours. That's right, 20 hours on duty. I want you to know that I feel your pain. I have lived it. I know what it feels to be defeated and to have no one there for you. I have been broke and I have been broken. I have been hungry and left stranded. I have been reassigned numerous times and awakened at all hours of the night because of reserve. I want you to know that I am you. The reality of reserve system is not working for us, and extending straight reserve is not the answer. There's also the hard 40 that simply does no justice for any of us. It takes away all our flexibility. We have suffered long enough as our circumstances have gone from bad to worse. The LOSA program, 3 base closures, our contract negotiations going on for 5 years now with no end in sight, the punitive point system, disease, and even deaths within our workforce from COVID, toxic uniforms, passenger assault on our workforce, working under a contract that has some of us working below poverty level. And of course, Brady Burns making almost every aspect of our work lives miserable. We have literally risked our lives during a global pandemic. We have been passed up for vaccinations and denied proper PPE. I could go on and on. These are all the failures of our current administration. We need change. We need our voices heard. We need our union to remember who they work for. I will promote a true system of checks and balances at APFA, one of unity, equality, honesty, and solidarity, and one of ethics. I won't pretend that I know it all. I won't pretend that I'm perfect. I may not have been a past union representative or have any past union experience, but I guarantee you my actual line experience brings more value. I promise you I will work hard to implement policies for all of us, for what is right and what is fair. I am 100% committed, and mostly I want you to know that I will put my members first, and I will not compromise.
Thank you, Ms. Pruett. Mr. Black, you have 3 minutes for your closing remarks.
Thank you. This election is about whether to continue moving forward with unity or go backwards with division. Our administration has been focused on uniting our membership against management. Our opponents have been focused on sowing division and pitting our coworkers against each other. I've spent the last 4 years improving this union and expanding the resources our members have access to. My experience with increasing transparency, advancing technologies at the union, and organizing our flight attendants for an industry-leading contract will be used to continue strengthening our union. My opponent has never worked a day at this union fighting for our flight attendants. Instead, she spends her time on Facebook hurling wild accusations and fighting other flight attendants rather than fighting management. The National Secretary must work with the base presidents, other officers, and the membership. This requires listening to differences, working through problems, and working with others to find solutions. The difference is clear, and you have a critical choice in the direction you want to see this union go in. A vote for Leanne will be a vote for division. I'm here as a part of a team who ran on a platform of change and reform in 2020, and we delivered on that promise. Now our team is prepared to continue forward and deliver an industry-leading contract. continue improving our organization through policy reform, and solidify our position in the labor movement. We have built a fighting union. APFA is on the map because of our leadership and the strength of our membership. We will continue strengthening this union with your support. A vote for Julie Hedrick, Larry Salas, Josh Black, and Eric Harris will ensure we can continue moving this union forward and win our fight against American Airlines management. To learn more about our administration, visit our campaign website, yourunion2024.org. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching a runoff debate for the APFA's Office of the National Secretary. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank both of our candidates. They did an outstanding job fielding a series of questions and talking about the issues for their platforms. I'd also like to thank the National Ballot Committee of the APFA for ensuring that this debate is produced and reaches all of our viewers. Now it's your turn, ladies and gentlemen. If you've been watching this debate, then you have a decision to make. It's your time to go vote. There are important issues that are laid out by the candidates and important decisions that you must be making. For the APFA's National Ballot Committee, my name is Brian Lane, and we thank you for this debate, and we're signing off.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.